Well, in this class, we're going to see how to launch an Amazon EC2 Linux instance. The first thing I need to do is choose the region where I want to launch my EC2 instance. In this case, I'll leave it in the Northern Virginia region, which happens to be close to my customers. So, from my main console, I will go to Services, Computing, and enter EC2. From here, we will click on Launch Instance. The first thing I will do is, I will name my instance, let's say Linux Server. Then, I must choose the AMI you want to use to launch your instance. Remember that the AMI is a snapshot of a virtual machine from which you can start your instance, so you don't have to start with just an empty virtual machine and load your operating system and all that. You can start with an operating system that is already installed and partially configured, so you can start from that point. It's basically a pre-configured operating system for your Amazon EC2 instance. So, in this case, by default, I have Amazon Linux 2023 selected, but we can choose others. For example, Ubuntu. And here at the bottom of a list, choose the available version of Ubuntu. If we want Windows, we click here. And in the list, we choose the version of Windows we want to use. The same happens if we want macOS. Now, we can be more specific when choosing our AMI. We can click on Search for more AMIs. And I get this screen where we can use some filters to search for those AMIs. For example, we can filter only free tier, and that will show us the AMIs that have no cost. That is, it's going to make sure that what you select is one that works at the free level, which is ideal for when you're doing an analysis of AWS or just learning how it works. So, keep in mind the option to simply check the free tier so that you are limited to those free AMIs. We can go into the marketplace AMIs, which for the most part do have an associated cost per use, and the community AMIs, which contain all the AMIs that are public, so anyone can publish an AMI and it will appear in this catalog. Note that this catalog may also contain paid products, and when using community AMIs, the best practice is to make sure you know and trust the publisher before launching an AMI from here. You can also filter from the left by operating system type, among other options. So, for this example, I'm going to go to Quick Start AMIs and choose the Amazon Linux 2023, which is free. Once that's done, we can now choose the instance type. In a previous class, we went over the different instance types, and instance types allow you to select the compute capacity, memory capacity, storage capacity, among others of the instance that you're actually starting up. So make sure you choose the right one. Now, you'll notice that by default it selects the T2 micro, which is suitable for the free tier. But if you're moving beyond the free tier, if you're doing production servers, you might want to choose one of the others. Then, we can click on the list and filter that instance that we need. Also, we can click on Compare Instance Types, and what this will do is, it will show you a display of all the instance types available so far. Notice the level of detail that is shown so that you can compare and choose that instance type that you need. You can even click on the deer icon and choose the attributes of the instance type so you can see more information. So, for this case, I'm going to leave in the instance type T2 micro since this is a demonstration and I don't need that much computational power. Next, choose a key pair. A key pair is what we are going to use to securely connect to the instance as such. Later we will see how to connect to the instance. If we want to create a new one, we click on Create a new key pair. We give it a name like EC2 key pair. I leave it in RSA so that it is compatible for both Windows and Linux, and in format we choose PPK to use it with PuTTY if you work in Windows, as it is in my case. I will click on Create, and here we see it selected. Notice that the key pair is automatically downloaded on my PC. Once this is done, we move on to the network settings. This is where we choose the VPC, subnet, public IP assignment and security group creation for this EC2 instance. By default, it selects me some values, but we can click on Edit and choose the VPC, the subnet. Enable or disable this EC2 instance to have a public IP. We can create a new security group or select one we already have from this list. If I want to create a security group, I select it from here. We give it name, a description of what this group does, and we configure down here the inbound rules. Since this is a Linux instance, I'll leave the SSH rule enabled so I can connect later, and the source site from anywhere for this example. Of course, in a production environment, you will not want to leave this access from anywhere. You can choose from this list the custom option and in source add this CIDR block of IP or prefix that they will be allowed to commit. I will leave it at anywhere in this case as it is just a demonstration. Then we move on to configuring the storage. By default, it puts me 8 GB of storage, and notice that it says here that we can configure up to 30 GB and the AWS will not charge anything additional because it falls under the free tier limit. We can add a new volume to this instance and configure its storage as well. In this case, I will just leave it with 1. Finally, we go into the advanced details. In this section, we set parameters such as the purchase option, the IAM profile for the instance, its behavior, among other aspects. However, to keep this class concise and easy to digest, we will go deeper into these topics in the next session.